Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Maximum Automation. Today in this video, I'm going to show you all how to perform scroll operations on a web page. When we automate our web application, then most of the time, the element on which we want to perform the operation available on the bottom of the page. Or I can say the elements are available out of the viewport. And to perform the operations on those elements, first we need to bring those elements inside a viewport. Let's say if I want to click on an element which is not available on the current viewport of the browser, then the Selenium click method will throw the exception. So to avoid it, we need to first scroll the web page so that we can see our element on the browser, and then we can perform the operation. So let's see how we can perform the scroll operation on the web page. Let's say that this is my web page, and I want to scroll my web page to bring the element on the viewport. Let's suppose I want to click here on this element, so I need to scroll my web page. Or if I need to click on this element or any other element which is currently out of the viewport of the browser. So I need to perform the scroll operations to bring those elements into the viewport. One of the ways to scroll the web page is to use the JavaScript Scroll method based on XY coordinates. To see, let me go to the console tab here. And then I can type my JavaScript window dot scroll, which takes X and Y coordinates as input parameters. As we know that this horizontal line is called X-axis and this vertical line is called Y-axis. So to scroll this web page in an upward and downward direction, I need to change the Y coordinate values in the scroll method. And let's say if we have a horizontal scroll bar also, then we can change the values for X coordinates to scroll in the right or left direction. Now let's say that I want to scroll my web page in a downward direction. So I'm going to change the coordinates values for Y-axis. Here for X-axis, I can take any value, let's say 100. And let's say I want to scroll down my web page by 500 pixels. Then I can provide the value for Y-axis as 500. Here you can see when I pressed enter, it scrolled down the web page by 500 points. And if you want to scroll down it more, then we can change the Y coordinate value. Let me change it to 1000. Here you can see now it scrolled down the page by 500 more points. Similarly, you can scroll down the page based on your requirement. You can see by scrolling how many pixels you're getting your element available on the viewport. And based on that, you can add the coordinate in your script. So this is the scrolling which you can perform based on coordinates. But sometimes when we are not sure about the coordinate and we do the executions on different machines with different sets of resolutions, then we can face issues with the scrolling methods based on coordinates. So instead of using coordinates, we can also scroll the web page based on the element. Let's say if I want to click on this element which is available at the bottom of the page, then I can scroll my web page to bring this element into the viewport. And then I can perform the operation on my element. So the one option is to scroll the web page based on the coordinates values. And then the other method is to scroll the page based on the element. So in the second method, irrespective of the coordinate value or machine resolutions, our web page will be scrolled till our element comes into the viewport. To show you how it works, let's say if I do a right click on this element, then you can see we are getting an option over here, scroll into view. And when I click on this item, then you can see it scroll down the web page to bring the element into the browser viewport. So in the second option, I'm going to use this scroll into view method to scroll the web page. Now let's move to the code to see how we can call these methods from Selenium. As we know that these methods are JavaScript methods, so it means we need to run JavaScript from Selenium. And to run JavaScript, we need to create the object of JavaScript executor, script executor, and then I'll cast the WebDriver object into JavaScript executor. After that, the next step is to run the JavaScript by using script executor dot execute script method, where I'll pass the JavaScript which we executed in the browser console tab, window dot scroll with the coordinate values. Let me add 2 or 3 statements for scrolling so that we can see how it scrolls when I execute our test. And here I'll change the y coordinate values for each scroll. Also, let me add a pause in between of 2 scrolls operations so you can see it more clearly. Now, let me run the test. Here you can see the execution has started. And you can see it scrolled the web page by 1000 points. Again, it scrolled the web page by 1000 more points. So this is how you can perform scroll operations by using coordinate values. Now let's see how you can perform the scroll based on the element. Let's say I need to scroll my web page till this element. So first, I need to find this element on the web page. And to find it, I need to create a locator for the same. Here we can see that this is a div tag with class value as nav footer back to top. So I can write my XPath to identify this element based on its class. So my XPath is done. Now let's move to the code to see how we can perform scroll operation based on this element. Let me first comment these lines. And after that, first I'll create a web element object. Using driver dot find element, where I'll find the element using by.xpath. And then I'll provide the XPath of the element. Let me copy the XPath value. And I'll paste it over here. So this statement will return my web element object. After that, I'll again use the script executor object to execute my JavaScript. But in this case, my JavaScript will be a different one. Now I'll use my JavaScript as arguments 0 dot scroll into view method and will pass the value as true. This execute script has an overloaded method which takes the web element object as a second input, and then the element passed in the second argument will be replaced with the argument here used in the JavaScript statement. We can add multiple web elements as well in the execute script method, and then we can use argument 0, argument 1, and so on to replace the elements in the JavaScript statement with the elements given in the sequence in execute script method. Now let me run my test. Here you can see the execution has started, and you can see it scrolled the web page to the bottom of the screen where our element is placed, so that our element can be inside of the browser viewport. So this is how we can scroll the web page to bring the element in the viewport. After that, we have one more option to scroll the web page to move to our desired element. And for that, we can use action class. And then using an action class object, I can call the method move to element. This method takes a web element as an input parameter, which will scroll the web page to move to our element. Now let me run my test again. Here you can see the execution has started, and you can see it scrolled down the web page to move to our element. So these are the different options you can use to perform the scroll operation on a web page. According to my point of view, I personally prefer the JavaScript scroll into view method to perform the scroll operation, which I believe is the most stable solution. But you can try other options as well based on your requirement. I hope you like this video. Please put your comments in the comment box. Also, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.